Usually, only rifle clubs practice in Gotland's Tofte forest. And this World War II era cannon has certainly seen better days. But this fake building is a sign that Sweden is holding its largest maneuver in decades. Patrick Monard's 18th Battalion was transferred to Gotland following Russia's Crimea annexation.
How does it feel to be exercising in Gotland again?
Excellent. Excellent.
After so many peaceful years.
Now we're doing the right thing. It was a little bit of a mistake maybe to downsize the national defense in the way it did. It feels good to be here again.
4 tanks were moved to Gotland from the mainland. They're not state-of-the-art. It's evident that Sweden hasn't been involved in wars for a while. The soldiers are new recruits with lots to learn.
The Swedish company is pretty new. They started their service in June this year, so we have a little bit to do before we get where we want to be.
Since Russia began redrawing European borders, fears of a surprise attack on Sweden have been growing. Gotland could be a target, but the Swedes worry they couldn't defend it alone. Which is why they've called on American support. Now, for the first time, American Apache attack helicopters are thundering over the island, practicing attack sorties. As Swedish tank crews practice their aim. Sweden always preferred to remain a neutral state, and so Sweden's officers don't mention Russia at the drill. Instead, they simply talk of reds versus blues.
Also be a red side played by another Swedish unit and some Finnish units and also some American
And you are the
units.
blue ones?
We will be the blue ones, yes.
Okay, why is that red and blue? Is that
It's
just the
always
colors.
been like
yeah,
that, yeah.
Typically that's how it is in military setting, is red versus blue.
There's a backstory to this drill, one that shows how worried the Swedes are. We're headed to the poor eastern part of Gotland. It's a quiet region with few jobs and much debt. Many are moving away. We're in the harbour town of Slite. There's a cement factory and little else. They used to keep pipes here for the German-Russian Nord Stream 2 gas pipeline. Now there's just a pile of logs. Sweden's government was worried Russia could establish a secret military base here. You call this Putin Key?
Yes, but we used to call it Pharmacist Key. That's where Nord Stream stored pipes for the first pipeline. And why shouldn't they? Every week we get a Russian ship transporting coal, plaster or cement. Keeping the pipes here wasn't an issue. Why should it be an issue now? Why can't we store pipes for Nord Stream 2 here? I don't get it.
Some of the people of Slite missed out on 50 million kronors, roughly 5 million euro worth of business. A new storage site is now being constructed in Karlshamn on the mainland. Due to their long tradition of trading with Russia, few people in Slite are worried about their large eastern neighbor.
If the Russians wanted to conquer Gotland, they could do so any time. They don't need our harbour for that.
After the 3-day drill, several hundred soldiers remain on the island. Too few, thinks Patrick Monard. Military officers like him are suspicious of the Russians. They think who controls Gotland controls the Baltic. I want to know if the soldiers left here will be enough.
It might be enemies.
Well, as a defense army, can we be enough soldiers? I don't know.
A reasonable consideration, but an unusual one for a Swede. After all, the country hasn't fought a war in over 200 years.